Hi friends, it's Kathy with Sycamore and Cotton. Welcome to my channel. This week I'm using Milkpaint to create 3 Cottagecore decor pieces that I think you're going to love. But first I wanted to share with you some pictures of my past week. I wasn't in my studio very much because we had a special visitor. Our grandson was with us from Sunday until Thursday this past week. And rather than creating art, we created memories. Here are some pictures of my sweet grandson and the fun that we had together. I hope you enjoyed those pictures and thank you for indulging me for a minute. So this week's projects are going to start out with this table that I thrifted from, well actually I bought it from a yard sale last fall, and I just fell in love with the shape of it and decided to drag it out and put some milk paint on it using this color of Sweet Pickins paint, which is called Artichoke. If you've used milk paint before, you know that you mix it with water, and it is a 1:1 ratio. So the amount of paint powder that you use the same amount of water. Now, I ended up not really liking this color for this project. I like the color, but not for this project. It wasn't exactly what I had in mind. It was a bit too dark. So I ended up mixing more milk paint color in the color flour sack. And so with that, I believe that I used 3 tablespoons of the artichoke, 2 tablespoons of the flour sack, and 5 tablespoons of water. I did not do any pre-treatment for this table, so I didn't, I did sand it. Of course, I cleaned it and I sanded it, but I did not put any shellac or anything like that on it to prepare the surface for the paint. I do want cracking. I hope I get some chipping, but we'll see. After the first coat, I pull out my hairdryer to help speed along the crackling, and I'm not sure if it really made that much of a difference because my hairdryer doesn't get that warm. I do have a heat gun and I need to pull it out, but as you know, I've got a lot going on in my workspace with renovations, and I'm not even sure exactly where the heat gun is. So we've got the bottom dried, and now I'm turned it over and working from the top. And as you can see, this table was pretty rough. The paint was chipping on it, and so a good sanding helped bring off all that loose paint. It was also pretty wobbly, but I was able to correct that by just tightening all of the screws. Fast forwarding now, we've got both coats on. I think it actually took 3. I can't remember. It's been about a week since I did this. And there's really very, very little chipping, but there does seem to be a good amount of crackle, at least on the top, and that's where it matters the most. It's kind of streaky, and I'm not sure what made it like that. I think I did end up having to mix a second batch of the paint, and maybe I got it too thin. I don't know, but I'm sanding it here with a 180 grit sandpaper, trying to pull up some of the places where there was, or it appeared to be, that there might be a little chipping, but I don't think I got any chipping on the top. But I did sand it well so that I would at least sand back some of the paint. If you've never used milk paint before, let me tell you, it is very, very durable. It is hard to sand. And now I'm applying the Sweet Pickins dark oil wax. And if you haven't used Sweet Pickins dark oil wax, oh my gosh, I like this stuff so much. And now I know why all the other creatives talk about how much they enjoy using it, because it leaves such a pretty sheen. It doesn't leave too much color, leave it too dark. And it's so durable. It gives a nice hard finish. When it's dry, I just love it. and I know the perfect place that you can get it at my friend Bailey's online shop at Reclaimed Grace. And here it is. You can see that there was not very much chipping at all. I did sand away some of the paint in areas. I do have a nice distressed look, but really in my vision, I had seen it as more distressed with more chipping. But that's okay. It's a learning process for me. I haven't used milk paint very much. I'm just kind of getting into it now. I do like it a lot. I love that it's a durable finish. And I like how easy it is to mix your colors. But if you find a color that you really like, take my advice and write down the ratios so that you'll be able to remember that for your next projects when you want to use the same. The second project that I got out of that milk paint was this picture frame. Now it was just a solid wood stained frame, and I just washed it, sanded it just a little bit so the paint would adhere. And I did, I think, 2 if not 3 coats of paint. And here I'm just sanding it to try to loosen up any of the chipping. There was really minimal chipping, and the crackling was minimal as well. But I really do love how this frame turned out. When I started this, I wasn't sure what kind of image I wanted to put in it, but in the end, I decided that mushrooms would be beautiful, something that pulled out, that this frame would pull out the greens from it, but also something bright and colorful. I love the red top mushrooms. I'm not crazy about mushrooms in general, but I do like those red top mushrooms, and I thought with this green, it would be just a beautiful botanical print. And I found a really nice set of instant downloads on Etsy from a shop that is called, I believe it's pronounced Copain by Copainter. And it's a new Etsy shop, and we ended up, the owner and I, having a nice conversation through messages, and I just had the best experience with them. So if you are looking for a download, an instant download, I highly, highly recommend this shop. After getting it sanded, I cleaned off all the dust, and then I pulled out my Sweet Pickins oil wax in the dark shade. And this is the second time using it, and I like it so much. You do have to remember to shake it because the color will settle down into the bottom. But look at this. It just, I just love what it does to this paint. I don't have a lot of cracking, but there was a little bit of chipping and a few places where the paint had come off, so it has just a mildly distressed look, and it's going to be so beautiful with the botanical that I chose for it. I think that this print is perfect for this frame. I love that it has an assortment of greenery. I love that it has an assortment of mushrooms. The butterflies, especially the blue butterfly, really adds another nice pop of color. It's got some typography in it. I think it's just perfect for this frame. It's almost like they were made to go together. So I just printed it off on regular 8.5 by 11 copy paper. My frame was just a little bit smaller, so I had to cut the image back a little. In purchasing this specific set of images, it comes in different sizes, and then there's one that's adjustable. So the preset sizes that it had were not right for this frame, but the resizable file was very easy for me to create the size that I needed. And I'm not a tech person. I'm not a graphic design person. It was just that easy to do. I had already cleaned the glass and really well, both sides. And off camera, I also sanded down where I had gotten paint on the back. And could this be any better? I am just thrilled with it. Normally, I would have used craft paper to cover the back from corner to corner and side to side, but I was out, so I used the cardboard that came with the frame, turned it over, and glued it on to finish up the back. And it's finished. Let me know what you think about it. And are you into decorating with mushrooms? And now on to the final project, which is this birdhouse. I've been doing a lot of birdhouses lately, but they've also been selling well for me. This birdhouse has been in my stash for a while. It had a winter scene on it, and I knew that I would be painting it, but I really wasn't sure how I wanted to paint it. But it really didn't matter. When I had this leftover paint, I grabbed it and thought, okay, this is what we're doing. And I used the rest of the milk paint on the roof. And now I'm painting the body in black. I wanted to get a base coat of black because the final color will be white, and I end up using Sweet Pickens milk paint in the color window pane. Milk paint is mixed using a 1-to-1 ratio, but I could not find my measuring spoon that I use for my milk paint. So I put a little in the cup, and then I thought that I matched it with the equal amount of water, but my paint was really thin, even though I did let it sit for 5 to 10 minutes. I can't remember exactly how long it was, but it was still pretty watery, so I added just a little bit more milk paint in. Then I started painting, and then I added a little bit more milk paint. It was back and forth, and I never did really get a nice consistency, but I went with it. I think I ended up putting 4 coats of paint on. I'm not sure. I believe it was 4, but they were thin coats, and I did dry between each coat, and I did get some good crackle, so I wasn't too terribly disappointed. I used my hair dryer after each coat to help encourage the crackling. And after it was good and dry, I sanded the edges, I sanded the sides, hoping again for some chipping, but it just didn't happen. And after I had sanded it, I wiped away the sand dust and started applying transfers. I didn't have a specific look in mind. I just went through some of my leftover parts from different transfer packs and decided to use those. It turned out okay. At times I was afraid I had taken the wrong route and that I wasn't going to be able to pull all those transfers from the different packs together for one cohesive look. But in the end, I think I did okay. I decided to go with recurring images. So I have a bird on the sides and the front, so there are 3 birds. There are butterflies on all 3 sides of the front and the 2 sides. There are some matching florals. There are some black and white florals. So you let me know what you think. In the end, I think it did turn out well. I do kind of wish I had just left it white and maybe put on a black transfer like the labels or something like that. But you know, I'm not unhappy with it. I just hope that it sells when I get it in my booth. After getting the transfers applied, I was then ready to add Sweet Pickens oil wax, again using the dark wax. And I had forgotten again to shake it before pouring it. I pour some in the cup so that I can brush it on. And it doesn't take very much. I apply it to the entire birdhouse and let it sit for a few minutes. And then I took shop towels and wiped it off, being careful to not touch it with my fingers so that I would not leave any fingerprints because they can't be wiped off. Ooh, I really did get some good crackle with the white milk paint. Look at that. That's fantastic. I love crackle. Do you? Well, friends, we've come to the end of another video. I hope that you've enjoyed the projects that I did this week. Please let me know what you thought about the projects, and if you enjoyed, please like, please subscribe, please share, please comment. All those things really help me with my business, and I certainly appreciate it. You all have a great weekend, and I'll see you next time.